Good evening, friends. On this fairly auspicious occasion for me, the day after the release of Pink Floyd's The Endless River, an album which I am quite pleased with, I might add, as it seems like everyone else is too, except for the critics, who seem to be, I don't know, a little too picky. And maybe they haven't listened to it enough. It is an album which reveals itself slowly, layer upon layer of texture and hidden melody. Although it is based on old jams, it has been fully tarted up, and that does sound like a real fully accomplished soundtrack to a dream, or a series of dreams, as the lovely image on the cover would suggest. Anyway, I've been feeling Richard Wright's presence the last few days, and it seemed malicious to comment. Not sure what he's going to say, and let me begin with some notes that I made a couple of days ago on the 9th, when I started to feel his presence and was a little overwhelmed at the prospect that he actually might want to comment on this album. Almost like I was with Robin Williams, a little, wanting to move myself aside and let the spirit speak, but concerned that my own opinions might be sneaking in the back door. Anyway, I think this was written in a restaurant somewhere in Toronto. Richard Wright seems to have heard Endless River while it was in preparation, and may even have made telepathic suggestions to Dave, Nick, and others, reflecting his own preferences. In the period since his transition, reported in my earlier YouTube reports, he has, quote, settled in comfortably in the spirit worlds, become acclimatized, and learnt all the little tricks you need to know, end quote, to move around without getting stuck. Thus he visits his family members and bandmates with ease. Yes. He has been engaged musically, both as a player and as a listener, and now that he's in spirit, can attend concerts by some of his favorites, ranging from Bill Evans to Ralph Vaughan Williams. And he is finally fulfilling a long-delayed ambition to write a symphony. It would seem to be an organ symphony, perhaps in the manner of Camille Saint-Saëns' organ symphony. And what have I written here? Today is November the 9th. Tomorrow the release date for ER will see my attempt to A, purchase a copy, and B, hear Richard's comments as I listen for the first time. That all happened. I did get a copy, and I did listen several times. But the prospect of sort of listening and having him comment as I was listening just seemed too overwhelming. And I convinced him to hold back and do it this way. Anyway, some Highland Park. Here's to Richard Wright and this river. Well, Richard, I'm sorry to have kept you waiting. I know you were keen to get going with this a while ago, and it was my own timidity and reluctance that kept holding us back. I see that you want to say something about your glad heart. Interesting. You are so pleased and grateful for this memorial to your work, which you feel is not even your best, but to have it so cleverly upholstered and rearranged and immaculately produced is something of an honor, is it not? Yes, she's nodding, yes. And even to hear the old tapes of the Albert Hall organ was a thrill, especially as he seems to be, yes, he's working on some organ music, and he's saying, oh, I've had many chances to play many pipe organs now that I'm in spirit. It's so easy to get around, and there are as many pipe organs, if not more, here in spirit as there are on the physical plane. Of course, he is, yes, he's nodding and saying he's working on other instruments too, and learning how to orchestrate more clearly and properly and traditionally as he works on the themes for his symphony. He's telling me, he's reacting to David's remarks about the sadness of never playing with him again, and he says that for him that is just not true. He knows that the rest of the band will, in their own good time, arrive where he is now, and they will be able to play. Just as he's been tinkering around, he says, tinkering around with Sid, who's slowly coming out of his shell. And that's his words, I'm not saying it's his shell. He seems to either live with his parents or very close by in a very cozy family-like structure, and seems very happy with that, and is playing guitar and painting, amongst other activities. He was reluctant to play with Richard at first, but Richard has persevered, and they have been, I guess, what you would say, jamming together, as Richard renews many old contacts in spirit with those who passed on before him. And I'm getting the impression there's a number of people in the sort of extended Pink Floyd family that he made contact with, or is making contact with, and continues to do so. The one name I'm getting quite clearly is Peter Watts. I think he was the equipment manager around early 70s. See the chap that was sitting in front of the equipment on the front of Ramagama? I believe so. Anyway, this is all what I'm hearing. And some more thoughts on how touched he is by the love he feels coming from the fans, people generally, to him on the occasion of the release of The Endless River. He was still on the edge of, or maybe past being overwhelmed at the tumultuous reception and he got on all the concerts of that last David Gilmour tour where he was playing. And like many shy people in the arts, did not realize how much he was cared for and loved, I guess. He has many thoughts on The Endless River, but he doesn't wish to contradict the choices made by David and Nick and the others involved in the production. They did a wonderful job with some old tapes. He might have done some things differently, but that's fine. Everyone has to come to some kind of final choice with the mix and the production and the way various things were settled. He hopes there will be more archival releases, and he senses that there will be, and he would love to see some live stuff, maybe not a tour, maybe just a few concerts, and he's feeling, and he's suggesting that John Caron is more than able to fill his shoes. They played together for many, many years, and he's saying John's just as good a keyboard player as I am, not to mention his talents on other instruments. So I'll leave that as a rather provocative opinion, but it's Richard, and he's saying, yes, I want that out in public. I do feel that. And he knows that David's next album will be a fine one. He played a little on the, I guess, the early tracks, early demos, I'm not sure. And he would just love for the guys to hear his new symphony, but maybe they won't for a while. Those in spirit will. And what a grand old time he's having there. It's the fulfillment of many submerged, he thinks, submerged dreams, even as one lived with the thread of mortality. One had dreams of another life, another more fulfilling life than the challenges presented on earth. So finally, or it seems like finally, he wishes again to thank everyone involved in the production of The Endless River, and he tips his hat to everyone and wishes them much love in their continued musical activities. And although he thanks everyone for the love he feels coming from them, he asks that you not feel so sad, that he does have a great life, and he does visit with you all from time to time. And this is family members and bandmates. And he asks that you try and feel his presence from time to time, because he is indeed there, giving his all when no one seems to want it. Oh, I shouldn't be laughing. The trouble that spirits have communicating is it can be a trial. That's why they resort to, I don't think Richard has, but you know, those funny little tricks of switching the lights on and off, and turning the taps on and off, and making wind blow through curtains, and all that kind of stuff. It's a little frustrating. I don't know if Richard's done any of that. I don't think he has, but he might have. He's not saying. He's sort of smiling as I say that. I see him inwardly. And he is, as I might add, he's very dapper, as he always was. Got a lovely sort of, ooh, what is it? I guess beige linen jacket and a kind of mossy green shirt with interesting collar lines. Anyway, I'm terrible at fashion descriptions, I'm hopeless. But he always did look dapper, and he still does now. And he's, to me, Richard, you look like you did around early 70s, in and around Darkside. You know, the full flush of young manhood, something like that. Anyway. In case any of you are wondering, but I think if you watched my other videos, you'll know that's where most people end up, sort of in that 25 to 28 sort of look. You know, mature, handsome, not childlike, not middle-aged, just sort of radiantly young. Thank you, Richard. I hope I've communicated what you wish to communicate. He said, oh, here's another thing. With his love of sailing, which is known to some Floyd fans, maybe not everybody, he was something of a master yachtsman, I understand, although we have yet to hear the full story on that. We hear little tidbits throughout the years, but he's saying he loved the symbolism of the boat on the Endless River and all the accompanying materials. That is so him, even though he had sort of slightly bigger boats. And he appreciates that little nod. Anyway, he wants you all to sail through the clouds. And I agree with him. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, everyone else. Peace to you all.